Year-old Pavel Gombar, recovering from a gunshot wound to the head, was charged at bedside court in Newcastle's John Hunter Hospital this morning. Gombar regained consciousness this week after being dragged from his burning Armitage Street flat, where a 53-year-old woman, Annika Kolevska, died when she was shot several times with a .22 calibre rifle. Another man, 55-year-old Alexander Radazovjevic, who'd been shot in the back, staggered from the flat where the trio had been celebrating a birthday. Bail was refused to Pavel Gombar, who, health permitting, is to appear in Newcastle local court on the 1st of October. Andrew Lobb, NBN News.
President of the NRMA, Don Mackay, was in Charlestown today, meeting members of the business community and releasing the service's yearly results. During the last 12 months, more than $27 million was paid out in the Hunter. It sounds a lot, but when you compare it to what the earthquake alone cost the service, it's not that much.
We were paying out large sums of money, and we had a lot of claims in this area. I think we paid out something like 110 million, and we had a large number of claims.
Mr Mackay says he's pleased with the figures for the year. Membership is up by 5,000 and claims are down.
We were a bit concerned about this area about 12 months ago, but the tendency seems to be, crime seems to be stabilised in the area, and it's on the down. Good.
The service also recorded a healthy profit of just over $25 million. Coinciding with Mr Mackay's visit was the announcement by Mayor of Cessnock, Marie Callaghan, that she will no longer stand on the NRMA Council as a member of the Motorist Action Group. Instead, she will join Mr Mackay's ticket. Elections for the NRMA board are taking place this month and next. Jodie McKay, NBN News.
Maryland is one of the fastest growing residential areas of Newcastle, but concern is mounting the urban sprawl is starting to get out of control. The updated Maryland Minimised Structure Plan for development of the Western Newcastle corridor is now on display. While the concept has support, President of Maryland Progress Association Ray Verdon says the report has caused concern.
There does seem to be some discrepancies between the original plan as far as the rezoning of the boundaries around the Maryland dump proposal, and also the rezoning of the Hexham Swamp area with the floodplain line. We're concerned that perhaps those rezonings may have changed those boundaries.
The new document has population increased from 16 to 25,000 people, with 270 hectares of land added to the corridor. Maryland Progress Association now wants Newcastle Council to set up a community planning advisory panel for their area.
Known as Angel 2, the $3 million plus rescue helicopter arrived in Newcastle almost 2 weeks ago to replace a chopper that crashed earlier in the year. Since then, its pilots and medical teams have been familiarising themselves with the machine and its life-saving equipment. All was finally ready for its first emergency call. This morning it flew a medical team from the John Hunter Hospital to Kempsey, an unconscious man from Nambucca Heads to Newcastle for specialist treatment. Angel 2 needed full fuel tanks for the Mercy flight. In spite of a strong headwind, flying time to Kempsey was 75 minutes. The return trip with the ill man in his 50s was only 50 minutes. The pilot and medical team were pleased with Angel 2's first medevac, and tuning is still needed. A relief helicopter for Angel 1 will remain on standby at the Broadmeadow base until officials are satisfied that the new craft is fully operational.
Today's meeting of publicans from Taree to the Central Coast has highlighted the depth of opposition to rumoured changes in licensing laws. While the government has released a discussion paper, hoteliers claim there's been no proper discussion of the matter. The Hotels Association believes current restrictions on the sale of alcohol will be relaxed, allowing motels, restaurants and wine bars which aren't presently licensed to benefit at their expense. AHA President John Thorpe argues the deregulation isn't needed.
You know, today particularly councils, health departments, youth and community groups just don't want any more liquor licences in this state. We are over-licensed at the present moment.
Local hoteliers have backed their association's campaign and will now lobby Liberal and National Party MPs to oppose the legislation. Speculation about the legislative change has prompted Shadow Chief Secretary Richard Face to call on the government to immediately release its policy. The restaurant and catering industry has gone one step further, calling on the government to hold an immediate and open inquiry into the deregulation of liquor laws. Gary Blair, NBN News.
The expo was held to inform people about the resources and equipment available to those with a disability. Organiser Valerie Cheval says there was a huge response from a cross-section of the community.
We're looking at people themselves with a disability, their carers, their families, their friends. We're looking at people who work in the field.
On display, a wide range of equipment.
We've got high-tech equipment that's suitable for people going into perhaps computing in terms of employment.
There was also the latest in how to help people become more mobile, both at home and in the community. Valerie Chevels believes a permanent information office should be established to put people in touch with the latest innovations. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
The pastures around Scone haven't looked this good for years, and it seems these cattle, some weighing in excess of 900 kilos, have thrived in the conditions.
You really couldn't go wrong with a bull this quiet, built so well, looks really nice.
A crowd of around 200 people were at Wooden Stud west of Scone for the 31st bull sale. It's one of the few sales that has no reserve prices. Bidding was running hot, farmers confident to invest in a bright future with cattle.
Improved export prospects, our lower dollar, and the fact that people are looking for an alternative to wool.
The top bull brought $5,250, down on last year's peak, but the overall gross was up 30% on 92. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
Only a dreaded dumping of rain could dampen the enthusiasm behind this year's motordrome season.
Well, if the weather's with us, I think we're in for a very, very big year.
That's Newcastle driver Greg Hodges trying out the freshly resurfaced track in his new Commodore, giving its muscly 350 Chev engine a gentle warm-up. Greg's pulled out all stops for a racing comeback this season. A bad crash last year nearly made him think better of it, but Greg reckons the sport gets into the blood.
And we lost an engine and then we went out in a fire and a big accident. But that's just a sport. If you can't take a knock and a bang and an engine blow up, you shouldn't be here.
Saturday night's meeting features super sedans, modified rods, street stock sedans and Formula 500s, then eyes to the sky for a big fireworks display. January will see the England versus Australia solo test, and December marks the 70th anniversary of Australian Speedway.
We've got the USA-Australia Test Match Series, and there's a new driver in the team, Clint Smith. He'll be joining Schwartz and Bloomquist, and there'll be a combination that will be very, very hard to beat. We've got about 4 state titles happening here, and the Supercross Masters. There's just a host of big meetings, national, international, and local competition as well. And I think local competition is one that we're going to all be very interested in.
A visitor to one of the 4 Glebe flats raised the alarm shortly after 8 o'clock last night.
When they arrived, the rear section was well involved in fire. Fortunately, the rooms that have been involved and burned out were unoccupied, and there were no other residents home in the other flats at the time either who were inside.
A quick check for occupants found the place was empty.
Well, if there had been anybody within the rooms where the fire did occur, it would have been a worse scenario.
Investigating officers believe the fire started in the kitchen lounge area of a rear unoccupied flat. This unit was gutted. Quick work by firefighters prevented the blaze from spreading to the adjoining 3 flats. However, they sustained severe smoke and water damage.
Any thought to it being suspicious?
We're still investigating the entire fire itself, so there's no comment on that at this stage.
The fire is estimated to have caused more than $100,000 damage. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
The Newcastle Knights admit to a $2 million debt. This man, Rod Harrison, has been appointed by the New South Wales Rugby League with one job in mind.
Fix the debt is the agenda.
As a conciliation commissioner with the Industrial Relations Commission, Rod normally helps sort out workplace disputes. Joining a committee of 6 people, including 1 from the League and 2 from the Knights, he'll advise the Knights board on restructuring their finances. Canberra solved their $6 million debt with a similar committee within 18 months. The Commissioner is confident the Knights' problems can be solved, and he has a special reason for his faith.
I'm a fan of the game and a very keen supporter of the Newcastle Knights.
Well, you go out there and watch them every week?
Every week.
The Falcons came out with their minds on the job, the points coming easily. Paul Kuiper was often left unmarked and punished Brisbane for their oversight. The fouls that didn't come on Wednesday night were at last spotted. Marty McLean made the best of his opportunities, playing his best game of the season. With the Falcons up by 9 points at half-time, the Bullets' composure was broken. But after the break, Brisbane showed their class by stepping up a gear. Coach Tom Wisman thought he had the solution to stop the onslaught. But Wisman's plans left Al Green on the bench and Leroy Loggins running amok. Everett Stevens threw everything into the last minutes, but the Bullets were able to hang on to the ball and deny them any chance of a third playoff game.
Matara, Newcastle's week-long festival, was opened today. It was also the first day of official duties for Tracy Corcoran. She was crowned Matara Princess last night.
It was great. I can't describe how I felt. It was really good.
With help from the local Aboriginal community, she raised more than $3,000 for the Smith family.
Most of my support came from the Aboriginal community. They were great.
Organisers say Matara will be one big party. Highlights include a free Marsha Hines concert in Civic Park tomorrow afternoon and a free Margaret Ehrlich concert on Monday afternoon. And of course, old favourites are in place to keep the kids happy.
Summer 1975, birth of what has become a legend before it even comes of age. The Hunter Region Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service. They were humble days, at Bell 47 the mount. Surf Rescue and Coastal Observation the mission. Rescue Helicopter Service has volunteers to thank for its foundations, crew members to supporters and fundraisers. Sponsors are also a foundation stone of the service. With their backing, 1981 saw the rescue helicopter chalk up a new milestone, 24-hour-a-day, year-round operations. The 80s also saw the District Park base they call home today become a reality.
Helicopter base to Westpac Helicopter.
Their first helicopter purchase, a Bell Long Ranger, representing another step forward. And the job, like the organisation, was changing. The Hunter Region Rescue Helicopter Service was pioneering a civil emergency response, which saw them being watched by emergency services nationally. Primary accident response, ambulance paramedics, pilot and crew on the aircraft, forming a unique team which provided a lifesaver, retrieving badly injured patients from serious accidents to desperately needed medical help.
He was flown by Westpac Rescue Helicopter to the Royal Newcastle Hospital.
Charlie from Chopper 1, we're coming into your west 9 o'clock. Looks like we might have spotted the survivor.
1991, a new aircraft, the Aerospatiale Dauphine. Thanks to community support from the people of the Hunter, this is the story of Angel 1.
Well, we've set the operation up to handle as many contingencies as possible. It's quite amazing and in fact quite gratifying to see how well the whole thing just links together when a job goes down, whether it's the paramedics coming rapidly through the front gate with the lights flashing on their vehicle, the aircraft's out, the medical packs are on board, the paras are in their gear, and the engine cranks and the aeroplane is off onto its task.
By a car, knocked approximately 20 feet. The patient is unconscious, LOC between 2 and 1. The patient at this stage is...
we're departed base for a serious motor vehicle accident on Cyril Rocks Road.
2 patients going to John Hunter, will be there in approximately 20 minutes. Patient 1, 56-year-old male with multiple lacerations. There's obviously a bit of a problem there, so we're heading out to that. Take away. Okay, you're clear to go up, Ted?
We're just anxious to get back now and get on with treating it. We certainly value the helicopter service and the chance to fly him back really quickly.
Just bringing me forward.
US Line Drive. Stand by for position. Second paramedic Coal Point Road, Coal Point. You got a thumbs up. Bring the cable in. To the left only 3, 2, 1, hold. Don't move any further left.
All of us are merely a cog in a chain, and if any of those links within that chain are broken within that hour, then the patient loses his life very distinctly. Whether that be the ambulance officer working out at the scene prior to us getting there, the work that we do when we arrive, the crewman in setting up the aircraft together with the pilot, positioning the aircraft to receive the patient in a more advantageous squat, and then quickly getting this person to hospital. And lastly, we shouldn't forget the surgeons and the anaesthetists that ultimately deliver that definitive care and save the patient's life.
Okay, go and put the gap straight up. This is a good hold on, maintain this height and hold on. We'll dig in nicely. Sitting here very nice and still. Just going up below the aircraft. Something below the skids. Just let you swing around a little bit. Coming up to the door.
Thank God they're there, because if they weren't, he wouldn't be here now.
When they've had the donations a number of months back, I and the wife, we donated $10 and I never thought anything more of it, but I sort of sit back now and I feel that there's a lot of families there that owe the lives of a member of their family to the helicopter. If it wasn't for them, there's a large number of people that just wouldn't be here. It's a necessity that we must have and we must maintain.
This, I say, that sounds like it's a good service here, and with this distance, he wouldn't have been alive today.
Helicopter service is expensive. It has specialised equipment, specialised crew, and it is worth it, no matter whether it's a young child, an old person, able, disabled. It is an important service for all people.
Rescue portable lifesaver 3. Rescue 72 lifesaver 3. Rescue 72, we're currently off Newcastle Beach. Just confirm where you'd like us to start searching.
February 1993, the blackest day in the history of the service. A routine search and rescue mission for an injured bushwalker west just before sunset near Barrington Guest House. The Angel 1 Dream was brought crashing to the ground. Crew and ambulance paramedics luckily escaping injury. Spirits down, they definitely weren't out. A replacement Bell 212, which had been operating in Western Australia, kept Westpac 3 airborne. 1993 won't go down as a year of disaster for the Hunter Region Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service. It will, however, be remembered for the triumph they've been able to achieve. It took a worldwide search, major conversions in Brisbane, but now it's here to return the level of service Newcastle, the Hunter and northern New South Wales has become accustomed to. September 1993. Marking the arrival of Angel 2.
Westpac 1, go ahead. Thank you. Thanks, Westpac 1 to you. Got a dog bird from the Strait area. About 39 kilometres east of the Strait area.
The Bell 412 SP is a twin-engine aircraft capable of cruising at 240 kilometres an hour. Flying endurance, 3.5 hours, with a journey range of 800 kilometres. Its features include a 3-man rescue hoist, autopilot, capability to carry 5 stretcher patients, sophisticated medical monitoring equipment, navigation systems, a 3-man hoist with 90-metre cable, and radio beacon homing device. The aircraft is arguably the most capable and best equipped civilian emergency response helicopter in Australia and one of the best in the world. Taking the Hunter Region Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter service into the future, Angel 2.
At just 30 years old, Alan Neighbour has sailed some of the world's widest seas and now plans a single-handed circumnavigation in the BOC Round the World Yacht Race. He aims to do it in a boat called Newcastle Australia and is attempting to capture the public's imagination and the more than $300,000 needed to float his dream. Some of the sponsorship dollars and cents came sailing in at the harbour foreshore with hundreds of little paper boats. Each boat carried its sponsor's name and a chance to win a trip to Disneyland.
We've actually started building the boat Newcastle Australia, and it's looking beautiful. It's going to be a very competitive boat and we're very excited about that.
Also looking a picture as they left the port, more than 40 yachts from Sydney clubs taking part in a Newcastle to Sydney yacht race. The fleet arrived yesterday bringing with it about 300 sailors. From all reports, Newcastle proved a popular stopover, featuring foreshore activities and presentations. The ocean races from the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club at Pittwater and the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia are making their way back down the coast this evening.
The first night of competition and Brian Thorley was dishing up what the crowds wanted to see. Thorley escaped unhurt, leaving a clear run for Newcastle's Brad Cameron to win the NBN Bill McDowell Trophy. The V8 Super Sedans were again a battle of the Holdens and Fords. Robert Carrick won the feature event, but it wasn't entirely easy for him. As he crossed the finish line, he nearly came into contact with one of the backmarkers.
She wants that body plus the body shot boys. All right, so it's all because it's fortunate. Hanging down there between the bulletins. $60 use. Here's some raffle tickets for you.
Teams from Newcastle, Lake Macquarie, Curry and Lochinvar have spent the last 2 days playing in the 7-a-side round-robin tournament at Harold Knight Oval. It's been a hectic competition, with each team playing 4 26-minute games a day. In today's wet conditions, Division 1 side Bell Swans in the yellow and green tops were too strong for Cardiff South, defeating them 2-0. Next up in Division 1, it was Minmay in the orange up against Curry. Minmay sporting a mother-daughter combination, mum Kath Rizzi playing goalkeeper, while daughter Diana, wearing number 9, featured in the field. But despite her infectious enthusiasm, Kath, dubbed the grandmother of Lake Soccer, couldn't contain Curry's attack on this occasion. Competition organisers were pleased with the interest shown in the tournament and plan to expand it to a statewide event next year. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
The Windsor Princess has made a place for itself among the harbour's cruise boats. The $600,000 vessel is the latest acquisition by South Strait operator Brian McDermott for his growing fleet of floating restaurants. But unlike the Stain, the Princess actually gets to leave the wharf.
We found that a lot of the inquiries we were getting with the South Stain was, can we go cruising, which now we feel it's a natural extension of the Stain. So it allows people, if they'd like to have dinner in a stationary restaurant, find the South Stain's there. If they want to go cruising on the harbour, it's a great harbour. It's just a lot of time it's just been underutilised, and I think it'll be great for tourism for the city.
The boat has 3 passenger levels and is licensed to carry about 150 people on open-air dining and dance decks. McDermott hopes to cater for the party market, complementing the harbour, river and history tours offered by the steamship William IV and the charter cruise boat Lady Joy. The Windsor Princess was built just over a year ago to cruise the Hawkesbury River, a venture that didn't work out for the boat's previous owner. Now the vessel is in Newcastle, there's speculation of a name change.
The $64 question, I mean, so we've had lots of inquiries. The boat's called the Windsor Princess, because basically it was based in Windsor. We're looking for a name.
Nepean in the red and black have a missile as their mascot, and that's just what they were for girls this afternoon. These teams are currently the top 2 in the competition, so rivalry between them is intense. 16-year-old Newcastle pitcher Rebecca Ferrance used her full repertoire of shots. However, the missiles seemed to adjust to the changes pretty quick and managed to regularly get bat to ball. Catcher Sally Hewson let few pass, but the side just wasn't able to contain the better drilled Sydney-siders.
It was Charlie the Chook that brought the charismatic coach to Charlestown today, and the car dealer's newest mascot attracted plenty of attention. A number of swimmers from Eric Arnold's school have also caught Laurie's eye. They'll be travelling to the Gold Coast in December for some intensive training with him in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games.
I think by getting a joint camp going together, it's really going to give them the best opportunity to bring the most out of themselves, so it'll be great.
And Laurie's still over the moon about that Olympic announcement that stopped the nation.
Oh, it's great. And let's go on as a nation and use this as something that can polarise the nation and really head us into the year 2000. It'll be sensational.
And as far as Newcastle's role in the Games go, Laurie sees the potential but believes we need to promote it. Meanwhile, at Lake Macquarie Council this afternoon, the first official Olympic Task Force meeting was held. Hunter Sports administrators and civic leaders discussed what role Lake Macquarie may be able to play in the Games.